Good morning students, we'll continue with the 12th standard economics, chapter 9, physical economics. In that next topic is that budget. The word budget is it derived from the French word bucket, a leather bag, a small leather bag. So actually the budget is, that means annual financial statement. For yearly they will prepare and they will estimate the income and expenditure of the government for the forthcoming year. That means for the coming year, next year they will prepare. So that is what as a budget. So it has been defined as means the budget, it contains all the income and expenditure of the government. It should be approved. Then after that, after approval of the financial authorities, the government authorities, financial department, then it should be presented, submitted to the legislative for the sanction of that budget. That's what the definition. Next, union budget and state budget. In India is a federal economy. So it has a two layers, that is central government and state government. So according to the budget, Union Budget Act, article of 112, the central government submit the annual budget to the parliament. According to the legislative assembly under the article of 202, the state government will submit the article to the legislative assembly. So this can be types of budget. A budget can be first one, it is a revenue and capital budget. It is there. According to that, first one is a revenue budget. A revenue budget, it consists of two. That means revenue receipt and the revenue expenditure. But it also includes all the tax revenue and the non-tax revenue. Suppose if it's anything unexpected income, if it's there also, that also can be included. Next is a capital budget. In the year also, all the capital receipt and the capital expenditure. Receipt in the sense all the capital income and all the capital expenditure also will be included. That means the loans, advances also can be included in that. In suppose the unexpected, a non-capital expenditure also can be unexpected. Anything expenditures happen, no, that expenditure also can be added to this capital budget. Next is the supplementary budget. Supplementary budget means if anything suddenly, unexpectedly, war, if it's happened, tsunami, flood, or anything, storm has come. So to meet that situation, to tackle that situation, if anything expenditure is made or fund is sanctioned, that can be added to this supplementary budget. Next, vote on account. So under the article of 116 Indian Constitution, actually the budget will be prepared there for yearly, for 1 year. Suppose the budget is produced in the middle of the year. If any political party dissolved, the government has been dissolved, and the government won't be maybe existed or not be going to be continue, means the maybe election has to be election has to be done. So in that situation, the government produce the budget. That budget is called as a lame duck budget, or it can be called as a vote on account. So according to this budget, the government prepares permission from the parliament. From the parliament, we have to take the permission, and it should be sanctioned. All the budget, everything, whatever expenditure income it is there, it should be sanctioned from the parliament, from the both the houses. Then only it can be implemented. So this can be for not more than the 2 months. It cannot be, they cannot prepare the budget more than the 6 months. The sanction for not be more than 2 months. Okay, next is the zero based budget. Zero based budget in the sense already the budget is there, freshly again start that same budget. From the zero again restart the budget. Maybe a socio-economic object, if it's that project, it has been modified or anything happens, means already this project has set up, means so restarted the budget, that from zero to again start the budget. Next is a performance budget. If any budget is already implemented, that budget is implemented or performed very well, means according to that performance. That means the budget which is already produced that has given a good benefit for the citizens, means that budget is called a performance budget. So this budget has been first prepared in the USA by the Hooper. So according to that, what and all the content should be there in the performance budget, means the government has to tell what to done, how much has to done, the betterment, how much the betterment, this according to this budget, how the people are benefited, how much the people are going to be benefited. That should be mentioned this performance budget. This budget is also called as a outcome budget, also can be said. Next is a balanced budget versus a unbalanced comparison. Balanced budget in the means estimated revenue, that means income should be equal to the expenditure, that is called as a balance, both is equal. These are types of budget. Next we'll go unbalanced budget. Unbalanced budget means the income is less, expenditure is more. So this is not equal, both income and the expenditure not equal, so that is called as an unbalanced budget. So this unbalanced budget further can be two types: surplus budget, deficit budget. Surplus budget in the sense revenue is more, expenditure is less. So surplus, you got more income. That's what the formula. Government estimated revenue is, revenue means income is more than the expenditure. Next is a deficit budget. Deficit budget means your income is less, expenditure is more. So the formula will be government estimated the expected revenue, that is income is less, but expenditure has become very more. That's what. So this is called as deficit, unequal. Next is a budget. So far we studied what is the definition of a budget, how it will be given to the prepared, everything. So now we'll go and see how it should be prepared. So far we studied what are the types of a budget we studied. Now we'll go how the budget should be prepared. First one, the budget has to be first prepared by the Ministry of Finance for the central government, and for the state government, the finance department will prepare for the annual budget. First one, first step, there are procedures, no? First step, the macroeconomic target means how many within this year, 1 year means how many months each target has to be fixed, period of how many periods, how many months it has, target has to be fixed. Next is strategy, means how it should be implemented, where it should be implemented, that and all should be there. Next, how much the money required, fund required, financial is required to this budget, it has to be mentioned. Next one is the estimated expenditure should be given to the defense, or in interest payment it should be there for the debt. Already you have borrowed anything, loan means that the interest has to be given or not, you have to estimate it. Next, the estimated expenditure for the railways, irrigation, roadways, anything is there, means you have to mention. Next, all the receipt from the tax and non-taxed also should be mentioned. So according to this procedure, see here, first it should the estimated prepared by the Ministry of Finance. Budget is estimated and it should be prepared by the Ministry of Finance. Next, on the basis of estimated income and expenditure, all the ministries, so many ministries, department is there. According to this department, and the budget has to be sent to the finance minister, Ministry of Finance. That office is there, no? That Ministry of Finance, it should be presented. Then seeing all the department requirement, then the budget has to be prepared by the finance department. After preparing of the finance department, they will prepare the budget, that it should be given for the cabinet for the approval. So after that approval only, it should be given to the parliament for the sanction. If that in the parliament, if it's sanctioned only, the budget will be launched to the public. So here you can see presentation of a budget. So after sanction, how it should be present to the parliament house, who will present. So In India, the Honorable Ministry of Finance, on the behalf of central government, Honorable Ministry of Finance will read the budget. For the coming year, new year, for the forthcoming year, he'll read. If it's the state government, then finance minister will of a concerned state in Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Kerala, means according to their state, the finance minister will read the budget. So according to Indian Constitution Act, initial money bill has to be present in the lower houses. There are two houses, no? That lower house, money bill has to be present. All the money bills has to be presented with the first, before the Lok Sabha at the center, before the Vidhana Sabha at the State Sabha. So accordingly, all the money bill, expenditure of money bill has to be presented. Then after that, financial bill passed, how it will be approved, but appropriate presentation has done means, according to the vote demand, the budget expenditure as per the authorities has to be implemented. Like this, the budget is enacted or implemented in India in the Parliament House, how the sanction has to be done. Next, the execution of a budget. This execution of a budget means mainly executed by the different department. Already budget has given, requirement of all the departments is given. According to that only the budget is prepared. So after budget prepared, how much the each department require, it should be given to all the department to use and launch the budget, activate the budget. So according to that, parliamentary control over the budget means in India there are three government accounts has to be maintained. So all the budget, ellam budgetum ஃபண்ட் எல்லாம் சாங்ஷன் பண்ணி கொடுத்துட்டாங்க. இப்போ அந்த ஃபண்ட் எல்லாம் இவ்வளோ எந்த டிபார்ட்மெண்ட்க்கு ஹவு மச் ஹேஸ் டு மீன் சாங்ஷனு அதெல்லாம் வந்து ஃபண்டை எழுதி அக்கௌண்ட்ஸில் எழுதி வைப்பாங்க. ஸோ டு டூ தட் ஒன் தேர் ஆர் த்ரீ டைப்ஸ்: கன்சாலிடேட்டட் ஃபண்டு, கான்டிஜென்சி ஃபண்டு, பப்ளிக் அக்கௌண்ட்ஸ்னு இந்த மெயின்டைன் பண்ணி தே வில் ஸ்டார்ட் ரைட்டிங். ஸோ in that further it should be divided into two committees: public account committee, estimated committee. In the rendu committee, what they will do, all the ministry departments, the budget has to be sanctioned, no, and the department will activate it correctly or not, or execute it going on beyond the limits. The expenditure keep on going, they're activating properly, the budget is launched properly, it is giving a welfare for the citizen or not. So this two committees, that public account committee or estimated committee, will constantly wiggle ஒரு word. Wiggle means look after and sees there should not be any misuse of funds, it should be there. So that is the main thing. And whatever amount sanctioned, no, that should be use it correctly or not, they will look after, overlook that one. Next, budgetary deficit. Budgetary deficit means where already budget is already launched. So after the launch of a budget, if the receipts are less than the expenditure, that means income is whatever expected income is less, but expenditure keep on increasing more, mean that is called as a deficit. But the budget has deficit, கம்மி ஆயிடுச்சு, it's not equal, income க்கும் expenditure it's not equal, that will be called as a deficit budget. So according to that, how the deficit of the government budget will be at it major types: revenue receipt, budget receipt, physical receipt deficit, and the primary deficit. Revenue deficit, budget deficit, physical deficit, and the primary deficit. So in this revenue deficit, all the government expenditure is more when compared to income. That means day-to-day activities of a government, whatever their day-to-day activity they are running to administrative level, no, that expenditure keep on increasing when compared to the incomes. So for that, the formula will be revenue receipt formula with revenue deficit, that is RD, equal to total revenue expenditure expenses minus total revenue receipt income, that is receipt is income. So when revenue expenditure minus revenue receipt, it not equal, That is what called as a revenue receipt. Day-to-day activity, the government spending more amount. Next is the budget deficit. Budget deficit means there is if it's a difference between the total receipt and total expenditure. Receipt-க்கும் expenditure-க்கும் any difference is there. If it's equal means fine. If it's not equal means that is what the deficit. Budget has become a deficit. The formula will be budget deficit is equal to total expenditure minus total revenue. Total expenditure expenses minus a total income. Next is a physical deficit. Physical deficit in the sense budget deficit, already previous one, plus government market borrowings and liability. Borrowings, loan something has borrowed, no, that also will be included. Next, primary deficit means equal to physical minus all the interest payment. I said already loans, anything borrowed means, but that the payment, interest payment has to be done. A real burden of the government, it should be there. So it can be present year interest only we can pay, not from the past years, last year's anything interest, that cannot be done. Only the present interest loans has to be paid, mean that also can be included in that. So here the borrowing of a government should be exclusive interest payment, everything should be there. Whatever they made it, any borrowing or loans, anything happens means for that the government has to pay the interest. That also can be included in the primary deficit. The formula will be primary deficit PD is equal to physical deficit PD minus interest payment. Whatever the loans interest we are paying, that if it's there. If it's more means that also can be included here. So these are all about the budget. Thank you.